The course is spreadsheet applications, and we're going to go through a lot of different parts of it. So initially, the course is it's going to start with basic Excel. So like changing font type, size, and color, different styles, not automatic format, function, those types of things. And then we'll go to more formulas, and then more linked workbooks, and then graphing, charts, etc., presenting data. You can so a lot of this can be used to write a research report. You can use a lot of the data from your Excel spreadsheet to write a research report on trends and what's happening with your data. So like if it's revenue and how if revenue is increasing over time, showing that the business is doing better. You could show the difference between profit and revenue and changes in profit versus revenue, and you could figure out what types of costs are going up and what you can cut, what you can reduce to save money. So there's a lot of important parts of using Excel. You can use it to improve your business through cutting costs and finding better ways to make revenue. So it's a good this course is used a lot for communication of information. So doing this course, you'll learn how to communicate information on an Excel spreadsheet to the world in terms of research reports. And it's very important for a lot of different business or policy areas. You can use it a lot in government or business to show what to focus on. Like you can figure out which costs to cut, which revenue sources to focus on. So test one will be week 7, test 2 will be week 15. Then unit assignments and training will be week 3, week 5, and week 10, and project will be week 12. So Excel goes through, like there's workbooks on Excel, charts, tables, and web support. So you can use a lot of formulas in Excel to calculate like adding, multiplication, averages, means, modes, maximums, minimums, a lot of statistics you might use in a research report. So Excel, it's very important for that. And then you can graph data, you can do bar graphs, you can do pie graphs, you can show percentages, show how much of a percentage, let's say mobile sales are as a percentage of revenue. So you can figure that information out and then figure out certain costs, like if your costs are breaking down by salaries, your place of work, your commuting, the factors of production, you can figure out what percentages are largest or smallest, and then figure out what to cut and reduce in order to save money. So that's a big part of Excel. You can use that for business analysis on what you should cut on in terms of expenses, and Excel is very useful for that. So what we will do is I'm just going to show you some things on Excel since everybody hasn't gotten Cengage MindTap yet. I'm going to bring up Google Sheet and then I'll put the link in the chat for everybody, but I'll work off of this for everyone with everyone. I'm just going to copy this link and then you can join this Google Doc. I'm just going to put it in the chat. So put it in the Google Doc. So you can follow along in terms of, so for this, what you can do is if the price is $185,000, the monthly payment would be, let's say you have a down payment of $50,000. What you would have to do is you'd have to take the price. So what we would do is equals B5 minus B4. And then we'd multiply that by the interest rate. So that's so the interest is under D5. So we do that, and then we divide that by 12. for the monthly payment here. Then the monthly payment would be 843.75 based on that. And then let's go down the list to figure out what the monthly payment will be for the rest. So here we have to do for this is we have to keep B4 and B5 the same, and then the interest is just what changes. So what we could do for this is we could just put in the 185,000 here minus the 50,000. And then just do that. And because those don't change. So we could just do that. And then let's let it go down the list. So there you go. The monthly payment increases as the interest rate goes up, and that shows that here. So for an interest rate of 7.5%, the monthly payment is $843.75. For an interest rate of 11%, the monthly payment is $1,237.5. So then total costs we could do. So for that, we could do monthly payment of be 5 times, let's say 7 years, so 12 months in a year times 7. And then we add that to the, so yeah, then we just put that together. The total cost would be $70,875. And then on interest. That would just be interest there. So then we would add the loan amount. So then we'd have this, and then we just separate the interest. The total interest would be it's the total cost minus 5,000. So then, yeah, we would have this. So this is how you would use Excel for formula based. And feel free, I sent the link. I'll send the link in the chat again, but feel free to add to it, graph this data as you see fit. I'm going to show a video on how to use this application right now. I'm just going to show this video on how to use it. Like it's more of like a different. Just going to use the tools you learn in the video to calculate. So for the totals here, we will have to add up all these numbers here. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we will use Excel for this. So to do the totals here, what we have to do is we have to do sum, and then we click this, we press shift, and we click the bottom. And then the total will be $16.38 here. Then to define an average, we'd use the average function. And then we click that, and then we'd find the average. Then to define the highest, we just use max. We click that, press shift, and then click this. And then the highest is 2.01. And lowest, you do minimum, and then you click this. And then you get the lowest there. And then for miles driven, you do totals, sum. You'd add all these up here. And then average, you do the average function. And then highest, you would do maximum again. There you go. See what happened here. Oh, max, you just do max. And then there'll be the max, and then min, you do min. So once we have Cengage Mind Tap, you will be able to do this with me. But maintenance costs, you would do, so maintenance costs, you would do, how you would do that is do B4 times C4, that, and then do that, and then total, yeah, an average, then highest. So I recommend for these ones, just to make sure, just for totals, just do sum of all of these up here, just make sure it's correct. And then for here, average, just take all of these down here. And then highest, max, put that in. And then for lowest, put min. And then, yeah, you'll have everything you need here. And then mileage cost, you would do for mileage cost, I'll have to get that number. I'm just gonna get that for everybody. 1 second. So we actually did something here. Actually, I'll show you why. So what happened here was this is actually in mileage costs. It's miles driven times cost per mile. And the maintenance cost is just given. So maintenance cost, I will post the maintenance cost here. So maintenance cost is, I'm just gonna transfer it. There's the maintenance cost, so totals, you just add up all the maintenance costs with the sum function. So click this, then shift, and then click the bottom one. And then average, you do average, and then you just click this one, shift, and then press the bottom one. And highest, you do max, and then press this one, shift to the bottom one. And then min, and then press this one, and then shift to the bottom. And then total cost, you would just add up the mileage costs, maintenance costs. So that would be do D4 plus E4, and then you just go to the bottom here. And then here, totals, I'm just gonna make sure it's correct. So to do this, you would add up for the total, you do sum of all of these ones, and then plot, and then this one you do average of these ones. And highest do max of these ones. And then lowest do min of all these. And then total cost per mile, you do total cost. So F4 divided by miles driven, which is C4. And you just bring that down. And then to make sure here, totals, I will probably, what I'll do is I'll do sum at an average highest and lowest. So then we have all this information. So what we can do is we could graph things across. So we could graph this stuff. So what I'll do is let's maybe do a line graph or scatter plot. How do we do scatter? Let's just get rid of some information. So maybe get rid of this. See what it looks like. So then, yeah, so it kind of looks like that, but it might work better if we did like a line graph, maybe. There we go. So maybe we'll do mileage cost and total cost and see how correlated they are. See that. So they're pretty strongly correlated, like they're kind of overlapping each other, so they're very, very correlated. And total cost per mile, let's try to see that with miles driven. There's really no correlation. Cost per mile, maintenance cost, let's see if this works. So you could do this in Excel. You can try to check like what the difference is. So like you can play with it and how it graphs. So this graphing is really helpful in Excel. So graph. So yeah, that's beneficial for you.